So now we're going to talk about how to use a lesson. First, we need to get to the lesson itself, and this is the screen that you'll see after you create one. If you create one, you're coming back, then go ahead and just click on the lesson in your course, and you will see that you'll be taken immediately to the Edit tab. Notice there's 4 tabs up here: Preview, Edit, Reports, Graded Essays. We're going to talk about each, but first we're going to start with the Edit tab. In the Edit tab, you have 2 views: Collapsed and Expanded. And you're going to see as we add some content to this particular lesson that that those 2 views vary quite differently. But first, it'll ask us what we need to do, and we have a few different options. We can import questions, we can import a PowerPoint, add a cluster, add content page, or add question page. Just so you'll understand, questions are typically like format questions for things like a quiz or a test bank. So if you're familiar with using the quiz activity, then you can export your questions, then import them into a lesson if you'd like. You can import a PowerPoint directly. It will take each slide in the PowerPoint and break it up into a page in the lesson. And then a cluster is actually a page that allows you to group similar pages together, and it's typically used to randomize the pages or questions shown in a group of page. So typically you have a beginning of cluster and ending of cluster page, and all the pages in between those two can be randomized, so that a student will see a different random order of questions or content as they go through. Content pages. Content pages, a page which can have text, pictures, video, and other content displayed, but does not have a question on the page. And then a question page obviously has a question on it. And then you have a number of different question types that are available to you in the lesson. All the question types are available to you in the quiz. If you want to learn more about creating questions, you'll need to go to the question creation section of the wiki. So what we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and add a couple pages. So we're going to add a content page first. And I'm going to give the page a title. We're going to call this page 1. And this is some content. Note that I can do bulleted list, numbered list, pictures, all that kind of stuff. And this is in the page contents. This is what the student's going to see. And then you have these different things: content 1, 2, 3, and 4. All these are is basically you're creating buttons with text in them. And that button will give direction to the student for what they are going to do. So I can type in, for example, a description here saying go to the next page. Oops, sorry. Go to the next page. And let's say go back a page. Now notice that if I don't use all of them, then they just won't be included. Now, when I've done those, I will have a choice of how the description is displayed, whether it's HTML, Moodle Auto format, plain text, or Markdown format. I just leave it as the Moodle Auto format. And then you have the jump. And the jump simply means that it allows the student to go to a particular place in the lesson. So in this case, I want it to go to the next page, and if it's going back a page, I want it to go to the previous page. And so I'm going to do that. And by the way, you had a couple check boxes down here that are important. I wanted to create the buttons first so you'd understand. The content buttons that are being created here, if this box is checked, they're going to be arranged horizontally, left to right. If not, then they'll be aligned vertically, top to bottom. And then display in the left menu simply means if this page is created, then do you want to display in the left menu so students can go and click directly to that page. And so I typically leave that checked just in case the student needs to go back and review the content here. I'm going to click on Add a Question Page, and you'll notice Insert Page, Page 1, and here it is. Now currently I'm in Collapsed View. Expanded View is a little bit different. If I click on Expanded, then you'll see that I have a lot more information. I actually have the content, and I have the different pages. And if we want to preview what the jumps are going to look like, I can click on the magnifying glass here, and this is what it looks like. Notice that this is the text that I typed in that says go to the next page and go back a page. So by clicking on those, it'll take me to a different location. And notice when we get to the student view, you'll see a progress bar and an ongoing score, and here's the content that I added over here. So let's go back to the Edit tab. I can either click back here, or I could have just clicked on the Edit tab. Either way would work. Note also when I create the page, I have the option to move it up or down in terms of the order of pages. I can click on the hand to edit it, or I can click on the X to delete it. I have the content once again, and then the different content jump buttons. So these are the buttons that were down at the bottom that you saw. Now you'll also notice I have some options above and below the page that were not available in the collapse view. In the collapse view, you'll notice I just have add a new page, and it would only appear below. But in expanded, I can actually do things above and below. So when you're creating the lesson, you typically probably want to use expanded view to create it, and then collapse view kind of allows you to see more of the general flow of things. So once again, I can import questions, add a cluster here, add a content page, and add a question page. So I could do that at the top, or I could do it at the bottom as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a question page after this page. And we'll do multi-choice. Notice I have essay, which is like a short answer, or a few sentences. Matching is self-explanatory. Multi-choice is just multiple choice. Numerical means they can provide a numerical response. Short answer is 1 or 2 words, and true-false is obviously true-false. So we're actually going to do multi-choice here and click on Add a Question Page, and then the title is going to be Question 1. And what is the shape of a soccer ball? And notice that this is the question that I'm going to be asking here, and here's my answers down below. Notice also that I can have multiple answers that are correct. So for example, I check this, then they may have check boxes instead of radio buttons. So if it's a sphere, okay, and then I had another answer that was something similar to sphere that was also correct, then they can have multiple answers. I'm going to leave that unchecked for right now. Then I can go down here to another answer, and we're going to type in cylinder. And then we're going to go and give one more. We're going to do cube. Alright, so they're going to have 3 options there. The response simply means what the feedback is. So I can say this is correct. And for here, I could say this is incorrect. And I could also provide additional information as well, such as this is incorrect because, and provide them a little bit more of an explanation if I wanted to. And notice that each one of these answers allows me once again to jump to a particular page. So since they got this, since this is the correct answer, then I want them to jump to the next page because obviously they don't need to repeat this page. Note also that a score of 1 adds a point to their score. So if I have 15 pages, each one's a point, then the goal is to get 15 points total. So I always want to put the score numerical value in the box of the answer that is the correct one. Remember, these will appear as buttons. And so they'll click on one of them, and the correct one will take them on. The others, I actually want it to revert back to this page because they answered incorrectly. Notice that I could also direct it maybe to a previous page where I had content so that they could go back and read the content again and then try to answer the question. So they have a few different options there. Note that I left the answer 4 blank, but I could have put something there if I wanted to. In this case, just nothing will appear. Now I'm going to click on Add a Question Page. And you'll see that now I have this page here, and I can move it up and down if I want to. And we're going to go ahead and preview that so you can see what it looks like. And you'll notice here's cube, cylinder, sphere. And if I choose cube, then it's going to take me back to the page before. It says this is incorrect, and I click on continue. And notice it takes me back to the page before. And if I go to the next page, and I enter cylinder, I'm going to click on submit. It tells me this is incorrect. That's that response area that we typed in. I click on continue. It takes me back to the question. When I click on sphere, I click on submit. It says this is correct. Notice it's in green now. I click on continue. I've now reached the end of the lesson. So if there's no page after that, it'll tell me I reached the end of the lesson. Going back to the Edit tab, so that's how we create pages. Once again, you can import as well. We'll get more into the importing steps later. Note Now, once we've completed all the lesson layout, we've added all the content, we diagrammed it out, made sure that the whole lesson flows the way we want it to. Then we want to go and preview the lesson. And in order to do that, you can click on the Preview tab, and you can go through and follow the steps just like I was showing you earlier. And you can do this at any time during editing the lesson. If I want to actually see how students have done on the lesson, then I can go to Reports. And in Reports, I can see an overview report or detailed statistics on which questions they got right and wrong, and how they actually completed it. And I can also, if I had any essay questions, I can go to the Grade Essays tab, and I can actually grade the essay. So I'm going to show you an example in a different course where we worked on a lesson, and so you can see what the student view looks like plus what the reports and essays look like. So I'm going to go here, and we have a lesson down here towards the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and you'll notice that I'm in the Preview tab already. And if I go to the Edit tab, you'll see I have a number of different pages. A lot of these are essay questions, and I even have a video in one of these pages as well, showing them, explaining to them how a ultrasonic sensor works. And so I have a lot of different content here. Remember, this is the expanded view, so the collapsed view actually looks like this. So it looks like a lot. It's really not a whole lot. There's about 16 pages in total. But if I go to Reports, I can see each student and the attempts that they've gotten and the percentage that they got of the questions correct. And you'll notice a lot of them say 0%. Well, the reason why is because these were all essay questions. So in order to actually get the grade for them, I have to go and grade essays. And then you'll notice that this particular individual has these essays that need to be graded. So I go and click on one of them, and I can read his answer, and then I can enter any comments I have, and I can give him a score of 1 or 0. 1 being he got correct, 0 being incorrect. And then I click on Save Changes, and you'll notice that now it's there. So now if I go back to Reports and I find that particular individual, he now has a 7.69% because he got one of the questions correct that I've already graded. So it is important to go through and grade each and every one of those, make sure you get them all. That's why you want to limit the number of essay responses. You don't want the whole thing to be all essays like I did here. This was kind of a test project with the students, because it ends up being a lot, and sometimes you may end up skipping one on accident. So you need to really be careful with how you do that. Now that's the overview. If I want to see detailed statistics, then I can go here. I can see each question and how the class did on each question. No, once again, these are essays, so you don't see any actual stats because I haven't graded all the essays. But when I do grade them, then I would start to see the class statistics here of how well they did or didn't do. So that's what the detailed statistics look like from the Reports tab. So that covers all the tabs. Remember, once again, Edit tab allows me to add content, and in the expanded view is where it allows me to import things like questions and other content as well. So as I'm laying it out, I typically want to be in the expanded view.